Yo, what's up? This your boy Travis Bethea from the Millionaire Vision Company, and today is an impromptu video, man. I had no expectations of getting on here today talking about sports. I was gonna give y'all another podcast today that would have been 3 in 1 week because I felt like we had a lot to talk about. But yo, this right here is crazy. If you living under a rock or you're not a sports fan and this comes across your feed, listen up. Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets 3 days after Kyrie Irving opted in to stay in Brooklyn. He picked up his $36.5 million option. Today, Kevin Durant said, "To hell with that, I'm gone. I want a trade. I'm requesting a trade. I did not see this coming. Ben Simmons was coming back. He was going to be healthy. Kyrie was going to be healthy. They still have Steph Curry. They had a nice core group of guys that would have been taking the floor next season. And now the Brooklyn Nets, as we know them, will be no more. Free agency hadn't even started yet. This dropped around 3 hours before the deadline was supposed to start. And it caught me by surprise, like I'm sure it caught a lot of other people by surprise. I did not expect this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys my opinion on what I think happened, why this happened. And we're going to look at it from a few different perspectives, though. We're not going to just say, hey, this is why KD is leaving. This is why he's doing what he's doing. We're going to dive deep into it. First thing I want to do is say, I think KD is leaving Brooklyn because of the instability of the franchise. If you all know, KD came into the league in what year was it? I think KD came out in 2007. Was drafted in 2007 by the Oklahoma City Thunder. The GM of the Thunder was Sam Presti. Sam Presti, he's a great general manager. He has one blemish on his record, and that was trading James Harden. They traded James Harden, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't re-sign him, let him go to Houston. They kept Serge Ibaka. I don't hold that against him because he did not see the league changing into what the league has become today. They made that trade, I want to say, in the 2012, going into the 2012 season. No. After the 2012 season, it was when Bron got his first ring. Golden State hadn't taken off the way that they are now. So, in retrospect, I understand what he did because this was still a traditional league back then. It wasn't so much predicated on a three-point shot like it is now. Because I think if he would have known back then that Golden State, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were going to be as dynamic as they were, there's no way they're not going into the luxury tax to keep James Harden and Serge Ibaka. The problem was OKC is a small market team. They did not want to go into the luxury tax. Why a billionaire doesn't want to go into the luxury tax, I don't get me. Well, because billionaires don't like to spend unnecessary money. We're just going to call it a spade a spade. I'm not a billionaire. I don't have $1 billion. I don't have $1 million. So who am I to judge? But that's the reason why. They did not want to go into the luxury tax. They didn't want to be penalized the way that they would have been. So other than that, OKC was the franchise of stability. They drafted well. They got KD, they got Westbrook, they got Harden, they got Serge Ibaka. They had Jeff Green, they had Nick Collison. So they had Nick Collins, my bad. So, this is a franchise that was stable. He leaves them. He goes to Golden State after the 2016 season, where Bob Myers is the GM, Steve Kerr is the head coach. This is a franchise that is stable. They are confident in themselves. They went to 2 straight finals, won one. Went to Game 7 of the 2016 finals, lost to LeBron James. But That franchise drafted well. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. That's their big three. That's their core. That's stability. We know who we are. We know what we have on our roster, and we're willing to spend the money. When he went to Brooklyn, and we're not even talking about the stability of the players he has around him, because Russell Westbrook is a dog, does not miss games. Westbrook started missing games because he got a knee injury. Before then, Westbrook was reliable. Steph, Klay, Draymond. Steph with the ankles, yeah, he's missing time. But other than that, if Steph is healthy, he's playing. Same with Klay, same with Draymond Green. You leave that stability, you go to Brooklyn with Sean Marks. After the first season, they blow that team completely up. And I mean, they really started blowing up that team because Golden State and Brooklyn did a sign and trade. D'Angelo Russell went to Golden State. KD and Kyrie went to Brooklyn. Sean Marks is a good general manager, former player. You know, he played power forward. I think he was drafted by the Knicks in like 88, if I'm not mistaken. Serviceable player, knows the game of basketball, but where they messed up at was they listened to Kyrie. But that's what KD messed up at. In order for them to get KD, they had to take on Kyrie. And ever since that has happened, Kyrie is one of those players from that Kobe tutelage. He believes that he is the best player on the court at all times. There is a cockiness, not cockiness, let me not say that. I don't think Kyrie's cocky. He's confident in his ability. There's a confidence that comes with that. But when you are, which I think the owners are going to really, really come down hard on the players with the new CBA that's coming down the pipeline. He interjects himself a lot, where it's levels to superstardom. Yeah, he shined beside Braun going against the Warriors, but he's not Steph. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes a player needs to take a step back. Kyrie ain't that dude. And it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he should not have this type of confidence, but when you're not the best player, you shouldn't be able to dictate how things go. They blew this team up. It's not stable because the second superstar isn't stable. Kyrie, per the talking heads, analysts, reporters around the league, they say that Kyrie says basketball isn't the most important thing to him. KD says basketball is his life. He pretty much shows that to us. So it was already a marriage that wasn't, to me, the best fit anyway. And I don't think KD necessarily wanted to go to Brooklyn, even though he wanted to be in New York. Per the talking heads around the league, he wanted to go to the Knicks, whereas Kyrie was like, let's go to Brooklyn, create our own culture. They felt like they would have more control, more wiggle room, more say over the roster and the coach, all that. We've heard Kyrie say that they really didn't need a coach. They didn't need Steve Nash. They could coach themselves, which is a lie. With every good team, you need somebody at the helm, at the forefront that can galvanize, that can teach, that can coach, that's not afraid to get their hands dirty. And Kyrie from day one kind of, he shitted on that. Let's just be real. So we're at this point now where everybody's wondering why KD left. Well, I think it's because of the instability. We don't know what was said behind closed doors about Kyrie possibly not opting in and wanting a trade. We don't know what the team told KD. We don't know. But I think part of the reason that he's wanting to make this move is because, hey, we, this franchise isn't stable from top to bottom. We had James Harden. Because Kyrie was in and out of that lineup, and there wasn't any type of stability and any type of way that we could get, our flow going, James Harden forced his way out. So that's part of the reason. That could be a reason. But the other reason I feel KD wanted to walk away is because he's not happy. You get what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't happy. And part of this to me is the media. I believe he was okay in OKC. I believe that he would have stayed in OKC if it wasn't so much pressure put on him to have a championship. Yeah, KD's great, but he's not a champion. He doesn't have a ring. He lost to Bron. He lost to Steph. They weren't able to get back to the finals. People saying that he didn't want to play with Westbrook, and people were pretty much definitively saying that, like, hey, we know he doesn't want to play with Westbrook because the people around KD is saying X, Y, and Z. I don't know. I wasn't there. I can just go off of what the talking head said. So he goes to Golden State. They win 2 championships in a row. KD balls out. He's the finals MVP. Him and Draymond have their spat. He leaves Golden State because the narrative changes, and which, I want to go deep into this a little more, so bear with me. The conversation changes as to where, like, well, you needed another MVP caliber player to win your championship. Though KD is great, the narrative was you needed Steph, you needed Draymond, you needed Clay, you needed Coach Kerr. That bothered that man. And then Draymond echoed the same sentiments. We don't need you. We won before you got here. That's going to play on someone's, like, confidence and their mental. So he's not happy. It's not what he expected it to be. He expected to be beloved, but he wasn't. And this is just my opinion. Not saying it's facts. So he leaves. He goes to Brooklyn. Brooklyn makes it to the playoffs without KD. You get what I'm saying? He gets there without they get there without Durant. They make a run without these two playing. But they blow this team up. You feel me? So what you're looking at when you get there, to pose what you're looking at now, is all of that youthfulness is gone. There's no D'Angelo Russell anymore. There's no that core team was pretty good. You got Joe Harris. There's no more Karis LeVert. There's no more Jared Allen. There's no more Spencer Dinwiddie. You still got Nick Claxton. But you blew this team up. Though you got Blake, you got LaMarcus Aldridge, but you got older players. That's more and more pressure on KD. Last year, they get to the semifinals, lose to Milwaukee in 7. This year, they go against the Boston Celtics, and they get swept. The only team in the playoffs to not win a game was the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie and KD. I commend this man for making this choice of choosing his happiness and not staying with an organization to where he's looking like, man, this is a sideshow. Y'all aren't doing anything that's like winning championship related, winning basketball related. Like, I honestly feel that he's choosing his happiness and his mental over staying loyal to a team that just they don't have it. They don't have the it factor. And I feel bad for Brooklyn because they were honestly trending in the right way before they got KD. It really trips me out, but I think he's choosing his happiness, which is a lesson that we all can learn. I clock into a job every day that I'm tired of. You know what I'm saying? So when I see people that's taking control of their future and their destiny, I love it. So I love this move by him. But in the same sense, it's like, I hope you did it not because of people talking, but because it's something that he wanted to do. Now, let's get into where I could see him going. The biggest domino that I felt was going to be moved this year, this offseason, this free agency, was DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns. He and Monty Williams are not seeing eye to eye. I think Phoenix is out of their damn mind for not prioritizing making sure that you keep this kid. You know what I'm saying? He's not a savvy vet. He's still young. He's still learning. He's still developing. But they're giving up on him. Chris Paul is there. They're prioritizing winning, and I understand that. He was the only piece that I felt was going to be moved. Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat are the two favorites to land KD. Ayton for KD. It'll probably be Ayton or someone else. Maybe if I'm Brooklyn, I want Cam. I want, what's his name? Cam Johnson, I believe his name. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Let me do my Googles real quick. You know what I'm saying? It's been a hectic day. But yeah, it's Cam Johnson. I would want Ayton, Cam Johnson, and maybe another bench player. You know what I'm saying? Because Ayton for KD, it just does not, that ain't a fair trade. Anybody that's not Giannis, Steph, Bron, I can't even say Anthony Davis, but Joel Embiid, Jokic, anybody heads up for KD that's not on that caliber of player, that's not that caliber of player, you're losing. You're not, it's not an even exchange. Miami, Pat Riley runs that shit like, I mean, that Pat Riley does what he does better than anybody else. They're not coming off of Bam. They're not coming off of Jimmy Butler. I was going to say Karan. Shout out to Karan Butler, one of the all-time greats from UConn. My favorite college team. You know what I'm saying? He's not giving away Bam, Jimmy, or Tyler Hero. So, but they can put together a package to get KD. And I think that they're going to make a strong run for him. But in all honesty, you could give up one of those three players, not necessarily Tyler, but you can give up Jimmy or Bam and bring KD in. But I think Pat will want to keep that core together so he can have like a big three. Because he had one before with Bron, Wade, and Bosh. But over the last, several minutes, over the last 2 hours, half the league is saying that they're interested in KD. This is how big this shit is because it's going to shift the balance of power wherever this man goes. In my mind, I'm like, damn, could he want to go back to Golden State? Would they be open to listening to it? To him, I think they would. I think basketball-wise, it makes sense. He was happy there, Like Draymond said, KD wants to win. He wants to play basketball. He wants to play basketball the right way. Draymond called it. He said, he was worried about KD wanting to play the right way when he left. He understood him leaving, but he's like, no, he came here because he wanted to play the right way. So him leaving, I know he's not going to go somewhere that's better than here. Yeah, I don't know if he would necessarily want to go back, but I don't put anything past anybody. But some other places where I think he could fit outside of Miami, I think that would be perfect for him. I could see KD going to Portland, straight up. Him and Dame. You could win a championship with KD and Dame and some good role players. I would love to see that. I would love to see Dame play on the big stage because I don't think he would. I don't think it would be too big for him. I think Dame could really do it. They made it to the Western Conference Finals before, but they got swept by the Warriors. KD was on that team, but he didn't play. Put Dame beside him, and they have a real opportunity to win. Other than that, I mean, him and Joel would be dope. Him, Joel, and James Harden, even though I don't think they have the money, But I do think James left some money on the table, but I think that was to get a role player. Would Philly be willing to go into the luxury tax? They do have Daryl Morey, the GM or president of basketball operations. He came from Houston. You know, they're going to play a free-flowing type of game, and they have Doc Rivers, who's not a slouch as a coach. He does have a ring. Where else? LA is a possibility. We know the Buss family has money. They're willing to pay. I don't think they could get KD, but who knows what type of trade package they could put up. Then you have the small market teams. You have your OKCs. You have your Sacramento Kings. You have San Antonio, who has a lot of money to spend. Coach Pop and KD would be a dope fit. But they just traded DeJounte Murray. They let him go to Atlanta. And this is where the best fit is. KD, if you're listening to me, take your ass to Atlanta. Go to Atlanta. If you can get to Atlanta, go to the A. And I guarantee you, if they don't win the championship, they'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals every year until he retires. Because he's not going anywhere else. His next stop is his last stop. He's 34. He's not going to move again. I say go to the A or go to Portland. That's just me. Miami, of course, is a great fit, but you're going to be in the shadows of that big three team with Bron, D. Wade, and Bosh. The expectation is going to be a championship. I know you want a championship, but I would rather you go into a situation where the expectation isn't that high. You know what I'm saying? Because we have yet to see him, like Skip tries to drive this narrative home. The weight of the NBA world was on his shoulders when he went against Bron heads up. Bro, they lost that series. Not Miami. Cleveland lost to the Warriors 4-1, and then the next year they got swept. So what are we talking about? There was no pressure. You're playing with the best team, the best three players, like the best collective three players. You're playing with them. You put the second best player or the third best player in the world on that team. They're not losing. Even though they were going up against Thanos. You had the Avengers when you had KD on the Warriors. So, man, look, I want dude to be happy, do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Live your life. It's going to be an interesting off season. The next couple days are about to be very, very interesting. And it just came down that KD and Kyrie wants to play together, just not in Brooklyn. So, Brooklyn, you take the biggest L of the last 3 years because you blew up your team listening to the representatives and the player, which is Kyrie Irving. I know y'all feel crazy. But we're going to see, man. When he lands, whatever team picks him up, whatever team trades for him, I'll be back. We're going to talk about it, man. In the meantime, between time, y'all be good. Make sure you go subscribe, like to the MVC Streets YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram, MVC_Streets with a Z. Millionaire Vision Company on Facebook, and Travis Streets Bethany on Facebook. Also, _MVC Network on TikTok. Follow me there. Man, y'all have a good one. I'll be back with more basketball, life talk. We talk about everything. Y'all know it's the Anything Goes podcast, Center Stage podcast, Legends of the Fall podcast, Money, Power, Respect podcast. We doing it all, man. Y'all go ahead. Make sure you go to the MVC Streets YouTube channel and subscribe. I'm out.